Remember, if you feel the fear coming, if you feel the tingler creeping up your spine, clutching it with a steel grip, then you must scream. It's your only chance for salvation. Scream! One of Hollywood's most famous and scariest actors, Vincent Price, made a name for himself in classic mysteries and thrillers throughout the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. Now, the Colonial Radio Theater on the Air, in association with Blue Water Productions, brings you Vincent Price Presents. We'll be featuring stories of horror and suspense inspired by some of Mr. Price's most famous films, as well as creating new, frightening tales with the assistance of his estate. Now, turn the lights out, sit back, and welcome to the macabre world of Vincent Price and tonight's tale, The Tinglers. The story of my second encounter with the creature known as the Tingler began as most nightmares do, in darkness. No longer has the same effect it did when I first... This is Dr. Warren Chapin speaking. The date is July 1st, 1961. I regret to say that an injection of 100 micromilligrams of the, what shall we call it, the fear serum, no longer has the same effect it did when I first took it, a little over a year ago. Symptoms at that time included blurred vision, visual distortion, claustrophobia, shortness of breath, apprehension leading to intense paranoia. No, not paranoia. Panic. Sheer terror. 100 micromilligrams is double the normal dosage. Do I dare? I'm not exactly sure when I became an addict. Some may say it was the first time I injected the acidic concoction, the fear serum, into my veins in search of answers I never should have asked. But I maintain my real addiction came to light when I decided to venture into that dark expedition that is science. You see, my real addiction has always been the truth.
Feeling all right, Chapin? You look downright peaked.
As usual, Huxley. You couldn't be more wrong.
Could have fooled me. Guess there's no wake in them fancy labs of yours.
Leave him alone, Mr. Huxley.
Lucy's right, Hux. Dr. Warren Chapin is one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century.
And you, Dave, are the most loyal lab assistant a scientist could ask for.
And he's all mine.
Lucky me.
Lucy, my dear, you are the fairest thing in this or any jungle.
Oh, Warren, stop. You're just saying that because you married my sister.
A mistake of monumental proportions. Thankfully, you disproved the theory that one bad apple signifies a rotten crop.
Lucy, my darling, I do believe the good doctor just called you a fruit.
What she is, Dave, is a savior.
What is this, the Academy Awards? You all gotta thank each other? I've been on boats all my life, and I'm gonna be the one throwing up over the side.
Mr. Huxley has a point, Warren. I'm not worth such high praise.
Don't you believe it, dear Lucy? If not for your shrewd perception, I wouldn't have found this new purpose in life. And we certainly wouldn't be on this treacherous jungle expedition.
Lucky us.
A full report on President Kennedy's speech later on, but we start with a bizarre report closer to home, where panic spread through a local movie theater, resulting in the hospitalization of several patrons, and the as-yet unexplained deaths of the owners, Oliver Higgins and his deaf-mute wife, Martha. Witnesses claim that they were warned of the presence of a large insect-like creature, referred to as a tingler, by well-known scientist Dr. Warren Chapin prior to the incident, about which the police so far refused to comment upon. Just a few days ago, Dr. Chapin was interviewed by our own Bill Castle regarding his researches into the subject of fear.
We're back with Dr. Warren Chapin. Please feel free to smoke, Dr. Chapin.
Why, thank you, Bill, and thank you to your very generous sponsors for the free packs of Red Apple cigarettes.
It really is more than just a cigarette. It's a smoke. Now, Doctor, before the commercial, we were discussing your, how shall we put it, your rather radical notion.
I think Radical is a perfectly acceptable word, Bill.
When did you first begin to form these theories?
As I performed several autopsies.
Before you go on, Doctor, I think we should make it clear that you are not the county coroner, but all prisoners who are executed must, by law, be autopsied. That's correct?
That is correct. In many cases where an individual was in a state of great fear prior to death, I noticed that the vertebrae were cracked, and on a couple of occasions splintered in two.
And this was not as a result of electrocution?
It was not, and I became convinced that the power of fear creates within every one of us a creature capable of shattering the spinal column.
A living creature inside of us? Surely that's impossible.
Tell that to a pregnant woman, Bill.
Oh, but this is different.
Indeed it is. This life form, whatever it is undoubtedly made of sinews of some very powerful material, and the emotion we call fear causes it to grow within its human host, spreading along the spinal column.
So why is it that this monster...
I think the term monster is a little alarmist.
Why has it gone undetected all these years? You yourself have never seen one.
It is my belief that an audible expression of fear, say, a scream, de-energizes it, possibly even dissolves it, kills it.
So its existence might never be proven?
That's a possibility. Unless, of course, someone unable to express their terror, a deaf mute perhaps, were to be frightened to death. Under such circumstances, it's entirely possible that we could remove one of these creatures still alive from the human body.
Until that day, your advice to our viewers, when they feel that tingle down their spine, would be to scream?
It'd probably be a little more tangible than a tingle, Bill, but yes.
I think we're going to have to wrap this up. But before we go, Doctor, do you have a name for this this discovery?
Not yet, but when I come up with something, Bill, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you very much, Dr. Warren Chapin. Join us again tomorrow night when my guest will be political activist Mr. Lee Harvey.
Following the incident at the Higgins movie theater, our reporter Robert White tried to get a few words with Dr. Chapin as he left police headquarters.
Shut up! Shut up!
Warren.
Ruined. My life's work ruined. Castle was right.
Right about what?
The tingler, Dave. It is a monster. How was I to know? How was I to know Higgins would kill his wife? Frighten her to death? I suppose I should have known Isabel, my own wife. My own wife would try to kill me.
You're not being fair.
But to kill me by setting the tingler loose? Endangering the lives of everyone in that movie theater?
What's come over you?
Warren, you're distraught.
You're damn right I am, Dave. The lives lost in pursuit of trying to understand that monster. I doubt my own purpose now. I feel directionless. Lost.
You want a direction, Warren? Fine.
What's this?
Something you two both missed.
Lucy, that's impossible. We've investigated every possible avenue.
Yes, you two have been very thorough. But only in the laboratory, Dave, not out there.
Out where?
Look, a little-known tribe of primitive warriors, rumored to be worshippers of fear itself.
The Dusiki?
Look at what they're wearing.
Intriguing.
Their garb could be patterned
after the beast I've just done battle with. The similarity is unmistakable.
To think that without ever laying hands on a test tube or an X-ray, a tribe of primitives may know something about this elusive creature we may have overlooked.
And what do you suggest we do about it?
Well, Lucy's been bugging me that I never take her out.
You boys take me to the most romantic spots.
It was your idea, darling.
And you think you're gonna find this thing, the tickler, out here in the middle of this jungle, do you?
Tingler. It's called the tingler. And the beast isn't what we're looking for, you vociferous goon. Why, we've proven that the tingler lies within every man, woman, and child.
What we're looking for is answers. Information that can help us form hypotheses, test and prove theories.
Discover new ways to understand humanity and the fears that motivate it.
Well, la-di-da.
The answers lie in the ceremonies of a forgotten tribe in the middle of an African jungle, and so be it.
Well, I don't know about your tingler, but I do know that this jungle's called home by some of the most dangerous beasts in the world. You go marching around with your nose in a microscope and you're liable to get it bitten off.
Well, I suppose that's why we have you around, Mr. Huxley.
Warren, are you absolutely sure it's true? Do I have a tingler inside me?
Sweet child, we all have a tingler inside of us. Even the imperturbable Huxley over there. It is the embodiment of fear. It's that momentary paralysis we feel when we come face to face with something too terrifying to comprehend. The tingler is fear taking shape. Ugly, monstrous, with a grip stronger than anything I've seen or read about.
You're scaring her, Doctor.
Causing a little tingle, am I? Don't be frightened, my dear. The tingler is paralyzed by our body's natural reaction to fear. A scream, one scream, and the tingler simply go... What's that?
What's what?
Stop the boat!
Huh?
I said stop the boat, you buffoon!
What is it, Warren?
I saw something on the shore, just through the foliage. Looked like a giant. No, it's impossible. They don't grow to such a size. Dave, get the gear. We're going to investigate.
Okay, Doctor.
I'm coming too.
But Lucy...
No buts, Dave. I didn't come along on this trip to mind the boat.
There's no arguing on this new willful breed of females, Dave. Just accept it and move on.
I'm glad someone on this boat understands. I just have to change it to something more fitting for adventure.
I don't know, Dr. Chapin. I just don't think it's safe.
Dave, my boy, arguing with a spirited woman is like battling the wind itself. A futile endeavor. Excuse me a moment, won't you? What exactly do you think you're doing, Huxley?
Huh?
Get away from that porthole.
I wasn't doing nothing.
If you intend to pursue a career as a peeping Tom, may I suggest you do it on your own time? I don't imagine the young lady's fiancé would be any too pleased if he thought you were treating her cabin like your own personal striptease show.
Oh, I don't think you'll tell him, Doc.
Want to bet on it?
Why not? Just like I'd bet he and Miss Stevens don't have any idea what you get up to down in the hold, in the dark.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Sure you don't.
Just dock over there, Mr. Huxley.
Sure. The boy wants to dock over there.
Then you should do as he says.
Well, how does this look?
Very practical, without sacrificing any of your natural femininity, my dear.
Mr. Huxley?
Almost good enough to eat.
We're going to be needing protection, Huxley, so bring your firearm.
Got it right here, Doc.
Tie her up to that tree, Dave.
Got it.
Lucy, be mindful. It takes a sure foot to walk through this dangerous... Whoa!
Yeah. Watch your step, Dr. Shorefoot.
Yes, well, I'm glad you've all enjoyed a laugh at my expense.
Let me help you, Doctor.
Enough wasting time. Jungle adventure awaits.
That is one persistent bug. Got the sucker.
Chasing shadows, that's what we're doing. There's no way you can see this far into the jungle from the river.
If Warren says he saw something, Mr. Huxley, then he... saw something. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Incredible. It's incredible. It must be 20 feet tall and shaped exactly like
One of them tingler things, right? What is it, some kind of totem pole?
The proper term is an obelisk. The craftsmanship.
It's hideous.
Someone put a lot of care into the construction of this.
Never seen anything like it. Not in all my years. What the hell's it for?
It's a monument of sorts, Huxley. Built by the Dusiki to honor a beast of great reverence.
I'll protect them from one.
I want to document this. Where's my camera?
Dave, I want to go back.
You want to go back? What happened to not coming on this trip just to mind the boat?
I want to go back.
Lucy, it'll be fine. It's not real. It's just wood and stone. Look. Hear that? Nothing alive out here. Now, just lean on me and... Lucy, get back!
Okay, son of a bitch is dead. Your boy, too.
I've got you, Lucy. I've got you. Dear God, Dave.
Not your fault, Doc. It all happened so fast, you didn't have a chance. When a jaguar gets his teeth in your throat... Chapin! Look! Look at the girl!
What? What?
On your back, beneath the skin. You see? A tingler. Plain as day. A tingler.
Help her, Doc! She's hyperventilating! God! That thing's growing! It's covering her whole back! For God's sake! Do something!
There's nothing I can do. It's up to her now. You must scream, Lucy. For the love of God, Lucy! Scream!
It's gone. Just like that. Gone. Her back is smooth. Pure white. Smooth.
Get your filthy hands off her, Huxley, you lecherous devil.
Hey, I was just trying.
Watch your tongue. I know what you were trying to do. Now get us back to the boats before anything else occurs.
All right, but we'll have to come back for the body pretty soon, or there won't be nothing to come back for.
Show some tact, you fool. Her fiancé's just been killed.
Sense of tact, huh? You act like this dignified highbrow, Chapin. What would your darling Lucy think if she knew why you took so many trips to the cargo hold?
Our priority is to get Miss Stevens to safety. Then we must hurry back here to take care of...
Too late.
Seems our quest to find the lost Dusiki tribe has proven fruitful. Please, for the love of God, can't we stop to rest?
You're wasting your breath, Chapin. This bunch ain't high on sympathy. They nearly took my damn head off with that spear. Now they got our hands tied up tighter than... Well, some damn tight thing.
Your grasp of the intricacies of the English language astounds me, Huxley.
Make the most of it, Doc. These guys ain't too chatty. Not even a native chant. Weird.
You were paid to provide protection, not observations, Huxley. Given our current situation and the fact that you dropped the gun the moment we ran into the Dusiki, money wasted, in my opinion. I will make any scientific observations.
Go ahead, Your Highness.
You've noticed the Dusiki headdresses?
Yeah. Same shape as the totem pole back there.
Obelisk.
Obelisk, whatever.
And both patterned after the body of the tingler.
Must hurt like hell. Wearing one of them things all day.
Quiet. How are you holding up, Lucy?
I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
Listen, you savages. I refuse to walk another step.
Quit your whining. It's not like they can understand you. I don't think they get a New Yorker out here.
I'm simply pleading to the universal sense of decency.
This is the jungle. No such word as decency out here.
Brainless ogre.
Touchy. What's the matter, Doc? Need another hit?
What's he talking about, Warren?
Just ignore him, my dear.
Yeah. You left it back on the boat, didn't you? The syringe.
Syringe? Oh, Warren. You haven't been taking any more of that fear serum.
Of course not, Lucy. The man's deranged.
Well, why don't you tell the girl about that twinge down your spine? That ain't the tingler, that's the need for a fix. You're sweating, Doc.
We're all sweating, you imbecile. We're in the jungle.
Mr. Big Brain Scientist. Nothing but a common chill.
We're here.
Fascinating.
Yeah. That's the word for it.
Just think. An entire tribe cut off from civilization, yet forming their own society, their own traditions, their own beliefs. We fool ourselves into thinking we're so sophisticated, but we're not much different than these people.
Speak for yourself. I ain't.
I think we're expected to bow before this fellow, Huxley. He must be their leader. Lucy? Lucy, darling? Perhaps the leader will be more reasonable. We should kneel.
Of course.
Excuse me, kind sir. Kind sir, would you mind loosening these vines, please? We mean you no harm. We are here in the name of science. You have a lovely clearing here. If I might ask, what's the purpose of the pit in the center? That's my helmet. You like it? Please, by all means, take it. With my compliments.
Curious lot, aren't they? Why doesn't he say something?
And why is he so crazy about that pith helmet?
Perhaps he thinks it's supposed to resemble a tingler, like his own headpiece.
Possibly. Or possibly he... Ow! The strap! The strap! You have to loosen the strap! You're choking me! I hope you enjoy the use of it. But in the meantime, these vines, I beg you, the chafing is excruciating.
Watch yourselves. The natives can be as vicious as any other beast in the jungle.
Nonsense, Huxley. They don't seem so bad.
Compared to what?
Will you notice those scars on his neck? The whole tribe have them. Hello? What's that thing in the chief's hand? Not any sort of weapon.
Looks like some kind of a peace pipe to me.
Peace pipe? My. Looks interesting. Do you think he's going to share it around or keep it all to himself?
Wait to see what it does to him before you volunteer, Doc. Watch him. My God.
He looks terrified.
Whatever's in that pipe, it looks like it's scaring him out of his mind.
Like some kind of...
Fear drug.
I think he wants you to take a puff, Doc.
Well, I don't know.
Warren, are you crazy? Don't touch that. You saw what it did to him.
No, he saw it all right.
I wouldn't want to be rude, Lucy, my dear. This is all in the name of science.
Warren, no! Mr. Huxley, do something!
Just been waiting for the right time, doll. They may have taken my gun, but I got other tricks up my sleeve. Or to be precise, in my boot.
A knife! Yes! We're free!
Well, I don't know nothing about the we part, honey. Seems to me that a drug addict and a split tail won't do nothing but slow me down out there. You know, I was on the Venture when we got away from Skull Island with our lives. I sailed across the Black Lagoon. That was no picnic, let me tell you, and I learned something on both those jobs. Well, we're all on our own in the end. The sooner you learn that, the better. So long, doll.
No! Huxley, don't leave us!
Come on, Hux. Keep those legs moving. Damn it. Damn boat. Damn jungle. I gotta rest. Just a second. I need a smoke. Give me the strength to carry on. Ah! A lighter. Damn you to hell, Chapin! Ah!
Well, that was brief.
Yeah. You ain't the first girl to tell me that, honey.
How did the escape go, Mr. Huxley?
Damn natives. Speared me through the ankle. I ain't going no place anytime soon.
Poor you.
Yeah? How's your brother-in-law? Reefer madness wearing off yet?
Just about.
Where are we?
Rise and shine, you dandy press. I got a feeling the party's back on.
Silence. Have you noticed the silence?
Call this silent?
No, you fool, not the drums, the natives. Haven't you noticed? They don't speak. Not ever.
Wish I could say the same for you.
They worship the tingler, but the scars on their throats indicate that they have no way of screaming.
Why? What's their link to the tingler if they can't scream to nullify it?
Yeah, good question, Lucy. Why eliminate their body's natural defense against the beast?
Warren, look at their backs.
I see it.
Looks like the same type of scarring is on their necks.
But this wound is much deeper.
Of course. The Dusiki have removed the tingler from their bodies. Remarkable.
But what did they do with all the tinglers?
Isn't it obvious? Look down into that pit, Huxley.
I had to ask.
Tinglers. Hundreds and hundreds of them.
Removed from the backs of hundreds and hundreds of Dusiki and kept here as part of some bizarre ritual.
What do you think it means, Warren?
I have a horrible feeling you'll find that out, my dear.
Hey! Let go of me!
And it looks as though Mr. Huxley is to be the first.
Hey! Watch the shirt! Chapin! Lucy! If they're about to do what I think they're about to do, run the first chance you get. Remember what I told you, doll?
We're all on our own in the end. I remember.
Damn straight. Ah!
Oh, I can't watch. They're killing him.
Not killing him, my dear. They're cutting the tingler out of him, adding it to their collection. We are witnesses to a ceremony, a ritual seemingly performed for ages, judging by the number of tinglers down there in that pit.
Is that how you got, you bastards? I said, is that?
Ceremony of the tingler.
Oh, they've mutilated him.
Well, I did tell him to watch his tongue. Now he'll have his chance.
Oh,
Cruder than their usual brand of surgery, but effective all the same. He won't scream now. Now, when they throw him into the pit, offer him as a sacrifice to the tinglers. He'll want to scream, he'll need to scream, but he won't scream. Don't look, my dear. Even a man as loathsome as he doesn't deserve such a gruesome fate. It's over for Huxley. One down, two to go.
oh God. Oh God, no.
Lucy, you must listen to me. Look down into the pit.
Told me not to look.
Well, I'm telling you to look now. You see down there, on the opposite side, that ledge. Down there. Looks like a tunnel.
What if it's not?
We have to risk it.
Oh, Warren, even if it is a tunnel, we don't know where it goes.
But we know all too well what will happen to us if we stay here. There must be a way out. There must be. There's no other choice, my dear. You ready?
Ready.
Now. Jump! You see, I was right. Tunnels. I think.
Warren?
Lucy, I'm here.
Warren, where are you?
I'm here. I'm right here.
Warren, I can hear them! The tinglers! I think they're all around us.
It's echoes. Just echoes.
It's not Warren, they're here!
Up on your feet. We have to run.
I can't see!
Nor can I. Just run. Run! Stay close, my dear. But don't be alarmed, child. Remember, if you feel the fear coming, if you feel the tingler creeping up your spine, clutching it with a steel grip, then you must scream. It's your only chance for salvation. Scream!
You have been listening to Vincent Price Presents, and tonight's tale, The Tinglers. Heard in tonight's cast were Jerry Robbins as Dr. Warren Chapin, Lucien E.G. Spellman as Huxley, Joe Caliendo Jr. as Dave Morris, Lee Barry as Lucy Stevens, Sam Donato as Bill Castle, and John Specht as the reporter. Tonight's play was dramatized for radio by M.J. Elliott, based on the Blue Water comic by Mark L. Miller and Alex Lopez, and was produced by Brian Rothrock. Executive producer was Mark Vanderberg, and the program was directed by Jerry Robbins, with music by Jeffrey Gage. Until next time, this is Bill Hammond bidding you a heartfelt farewell. Vincent Price Presents is under a copyright by the Vincent Price Estate and Darren G. Davis. Audio production copyright by Colonial Radio Theater on the Air.
One of Hollywood's most famous and scariest actors, Vincent Price, made a name for himself in classic mysteries and thrillers throughout the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. Now, the Colonial Radio Theater on the Air, in association with Blue Water Productions, brings you Vincent Price Presents. We'll be featuring stories of horror and suspense inspired by some of Mr. Price's most famous films, as well as creating new, frightening tales with the assistance of his estate. Now, turn the lights out, sit back, and welcome to the macabre world of Vincent Price in tonight's tale, Fade Away. There's no denying that each and every person treasures their individual memories,
Our memories define us. They make us unique. But what would happen to us if we lost our memories? Private Detective Frank Wood is about to find out in a story entitled Fade Away. Frank Wood Investigations.
I'm sorry.
Wrong number?
No, it's just that you have to forgive me. I'm rather old-fashioned.
No need to apologize. I'm a little old-fashioned myself.
I suppose in this day and age there's nothing unusual with a man acting as a secretary.
Nothing unusual at all. Is that who you think I am?
You're not Mr. Wood's secretary.
Afraid not. Can't afford a secretary.
You're Frank Wood, then?
That would be me. What can I do for you, Mr.
Leonard. Jack Leonard.
Nice to hear from you, Mr. Leonard.
I would like to speak to you in person, please.
That's easy to arrange. I haven't got any cases at the moment. You can come down to my office anytime you like. Can I expect you sometime today?
It would be easier if you could come to my place. I'm an old man, you see, and I have trouble getting around at times.
I don't normally make house calls.
I will pay for your time, Mr. Wood.
That's good to know. What's your address? No, wait a second. Just let me get a pencil and paper. Okay, go on. Nice place. Mr. Jack Leonard must be pretty wealthy. I like a driveway you can land a plane on. Well, I guess the rent gets paid this month. Maybe there'll be enough left over for a meal or two.
We're not buying anything.
I'm not selling anything, except my expertise, of course.
We're not buying that either.
Hey, wait a second. I'm expected.
Not by me.
This is the home of Jack Leonard, isn't it?
Well?
Mr. Leonard called me earlier today, asked me to be here at 3 p.m. It's 2:55 now. Do you want to make me late?
Mr. Leonard called you himself. Impossible.
It's not impossible. I'm in the book. Mine's the first name you hit, if you're reading it backwards.
I'm afraid I still can't let you in.
Can't?
Mr. Leonard might be expecting you, but I'm not.
You're a servant, right? I mean, it's a little early in the day for a fancy dress ball.
So?
So serve. Your master's expecting me at 3, and that's in 3.5 minutes from now. Hop to it, Jeeves.
My name is...
Philip! Did I hear a gentleman arriving?
You sure did, Mr. Leonard. I'm right here.
Good, good. Show him in, Philip.
This way, please.
Thanks, Philip. Don't mind if I do.
You are not welcome here, Mr. Wood.
All evidence to the contrary.
Take my advice.
Now, why would I do that?
Refuse to take Mr. Leonard's case.
I ask again, Philip. Why would I do that?
Because there is no case. My master is unwell. All you'd be doing is exacerbating his condition.
Explain.
It means to make things worse.
I know what exacerbate means, Philip. Explain about his condition.
I can't.
You mean you're not his doctor, too? So, really, you're in no position to say what might make him better or worse.
You're being very foolish, Mr. Wood. I must insist that you turn this case down.
Well, unless you're prepared to double what your boss is offering, which seems unlikely, then I can't be bought off, so you're probably going to wind up disappointed.
In there.
Enter. Who are you?
Nobody, sir.
Frank Wood, private investigator. You called me earlier today?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. You know, my memory isn't what it used to be. Hello, Mr. Wood. Have a seat, won't you?
Thanks. Does, Philip have to stay?
I prefer to be close at hand, in case Mr. Leonard should need me.
Fine. Can I help you with Mr. Leonard?
Let me get right down to business, Mr.
Wood.
Wood, of course. Yes, Mr. Wood. A woman has been breaking into my house, and I want her caught.
A break-in, Mr. Wood. Seems more like a case for the police, doesn't it?
You know, actually it does. I'll be glad to give you the name of one of the boys on robbery homicide.
No, I've already contacted the police. They've been of no help. All they did was write down a report and send a few squad cars by every few hours. That's no good to me. I need someone to monitor my house thoroughly.
I see. I have to be honest with you, Mr. Leonard. That kind of surveillance would not come cheap.
You'll be paid $1,000 up front with an additional $5,000 when the job is done.
Oh. 6,000. Well, I certainly can't pass up 6,000. Hell, that's more than I make in 3 years.
Then you'll take the job?
Yeah, I'll take the job.
Wonderful.
So, what can you tell me about this intruder, Mr. Leonard?
I haven't seen her up close. I've only caught glimpses of her.
But you don't recognize her?
No. All I can tell you is she's a blonde, middle-aged woman. She has a visible scar under her right eye.
You haven't seen her up close, but you saw the scar?
That's right.
Okay. Do you know anyone who would want to break into your home? Do you have any enemies?
How could I?
Well, you tell me.
Mr. Wood, I hardly ever leave my home. I prefer to keep myself to myself. Oh, I may have angered many people in my youth, but I'm an old man now, and virtually all of those individuals have long since passed away.
So that leaves us with...
Nothing, Mr. Wood. It leaves us with nothing. I simply cannot think of anyone who'd want to terrorize me in my own home.
Would you mind if I took a look around your house, Mr. Leonard? Maybe I can find a clue or something, maybe evidence of a break-in.
I think that's an eminently sensible idea. Feel free to look around.
Are you done yet?
You know, you don't have to watch me the whole time, Philip. Anyone would think you didn't trust me. I promise you, I'm not going to steal anything.
Nevertheless, Mr. Wood, I like to look out for my employer's best interests.
Well, he's my employer too now. I didn't catch your last name, Philip.
It's Jeeves.
No, really.
My name is Jeeves. G-U-Y-V-E-S. Pronounced Jeeves. What? It's a name.
Yes, it is. And a damn fine name, if I do say so my damn self.
So, Mr. Detective, what have you discovered? Footprints, fingerprints, any other damning evidence?
Nothing.
Surprise, surprise.
No sign of forced entry anywhere. So how did the intruder manage to get in?
Don't let it trouble your tiny mind, Mr. Wood. Just a minute. What are you doing? Get away from there.
Relax, Philip. Just doing my job. Medications. And alcohol. Not exactly the best combination.
A man who mixes the two is liable to imagine all kinds of things, wouldn't you say?
You're awfully keen to see me drop this case and just walk away, aren't you?
Would you?
No.
Believe it or not, I care a great deal about Mr. Leonard's well-being.
I think it's going to have to be not. Sorry, Philip.
Well, Mr. Wood, you see, I remembered. Were you able to come up with anything?
I'm afraid I couldn't find any clues as to how the intruder managed to get in. Not even with Philip's invaluable assistance. Does anyone besides yourself and presumably your servant here have a key?
No one. So what now?
Well, if you like, I can keep an eye on the house during the night. It's just possible I can catch the intruder in the act.
That sounds like as good a plan as any.
I'm worried that it could be a waste of Mr. Wood's time and your own, Mr. Leonard.
Nonsense, Philip. Well, Mr. Wood, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to retire now. It's been a very stressful last couple of days, and I'm quite exhausted. You can go home for the night, Philip.
If you're sure, sir.
Quite sure. Good night to you, Mr. Wood.
Good night.
Mr. Wood, a word.
Yes.
If you should happen to see anything in the night...
I thought there was nothing to see. Weren't you trying to tell me it was all in your boss's imagination?
All right, fine. You don't want help when it's offered. Good luck to you.
I'm not sure I want your brand of help, Philip. And you needn't worry about me swiping any ashtrays while you're off duty. I'll be in my car out front, keeping an eye on the place.
Damn bladder. Once upon a time, I could have made it through a whole night without having...
$6,000 to stay awake all night. Easiest money I ever made.
That's better. Should be good for the rest of the night now. What? Who's there? Wood, is that you? It's you again, isn't it? Show yourself!
Jack, I miss
you.
What the hell? Mr. Leonard! Mr. Leonard! Mr. Leonard! Jack! My God, Jack! Jack! Can you hear me? Jack, you all right?
I don't pay for you to hit me.
Thank God. Jack, what happened?
It was her again. The woman. I saw her.
Where is she now?
I don't know. She left.
It's impossible. I've been watching the house all night. I didn't see anyone enter or leave.
I saw her.
Okay, you saw her. I believe you. Now, which way did she go?
Towards the kitchen.
The kitchen, fine. Now, you stay here. Let me check it out.
What if she comes back?
She'll have to get past me. Now, just relax. I'll be right back.
And did you see anything?
No, and I didn't hear anything either. Just the sound of Jack Leonard screaming.
And once again, no evidence of break-in, correct?
Yes. Congratulations, Philip. You get to say I told you so.
I'm not that petty, but I did tell you so.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think your boss may not be all right in the head.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Thing is, though, he seems so sure, so damn scared. I mean, something terrified him so much he passed out. What the hell was that?
You don't mean to say...
Gotta go, Philip. Oh, hey, phone in the kitchen. Nice touch.
I'm sorry to inconvenience you like this. Normally my servant would help me to bed.
Don't worry about it. I'm glad to help. You should get some sleep, Jack. I'll stay here and make sure no one gets inside again.
I appreciate it, Mr.
Wood. Frank Wood. Remember me?
Remember. No, I don't. I try not to. I want to forget. I need to forget.
I'm sorry about this, Jack, but I'm going to have to snoop around some more. There has to be some clue as to what's going on here. Wow. You know Truman? Looks like you're a popular, successful man, Jack. But have you made some enemies along the way? What am I saying? You already told me your enemies were all dead. Unless you're being stalked by a ghost. No, that's too crazy. Like something out of a horror movie. Nothing. Hold it. There's something behind the dresser. A letter, maybe? What is it, Jack? If you were awake, would you tell me? Would you even remember? I got it. It's not a letter, a photo. Part of a photo. Cut up. Oh, she's a pretty girl, Jack. Wonder who she is. Of course, this could be nothing more than a magazine ad. But I've learned never to rush to conclusions. You don't mind if I keep a hold of this, do you? Because if you do, you should say so. All right, then. Funny. I've looked all over this house, Jack, but I haven't seen any pictures of family members or relatives. I didn't see any resemblance to the girl in the photo. But you never know. Do you even have any surviving family members? I need to look into this. In the morning. Later in the morning. It's going to be a long time till I sleep again.
Hello there.
Hi, my name is Frank Wood. I'm a private investigator. Hang on a second. Here's my license, see?
Yes, I see. What can we do for you today, Mr. Wood?
Well, I'm looking for any public records you may have on a man named Jack Leonard. Problem?
Well, Jack Leonard isn't an altogether uncommon name. Chances are we'll have quite a lot of material.
Maybe I could make it worth your while.
Maybe you could. It'll take me a few minutes for me to collect everything, Mr. Wood.
Call me Frank.
Will you wait?
If it takes forever.
It didn't quite take forever. But this is everything I found.
Wow. You said you might have a lot of material. You weren't kidding.
There were a few men with the name Jack Leonard, so I gathered all their files for you.
Thank you very much. No. Ha! This is our boy. Marriage certificate. Mary Ann Dempsey. So, the old buzzard was married. I didn't see any photos of her in the house.
The marriage may not have lasted long.
Yeah, maybe not. How'd you like to be a detective?
I'm not sure I'm cut out for it. I like to go to bed early.
Well, you couldn't do a worse job than I've been doing lately. I guess my theory was wrong. Oh, you look at this. Jack even has a daughter named Jenny. Yeah, it could be a long shot, but Mary and Jenny could be in the phone book. Hey, can I ask you a deeply personal question?
Go right ahead.
Do you happen to have a telephone directory on hand?
Here you go.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's see. J, K, L, Leonard, Francis Leonard, John Leonard, Jenny Leonard. Bingo! Where's the nearest phone?
There's a phone booth down the street.
Thanks for all your help.
So, you're leaving me for another woman?
I promise I'll be thinking about you the whole time.
You don't even know my name.
Oh, why let a little thing like that come between us?
Hello?
Hello, is this Jack Leonard's daughter, Jenny?
It is. May I ask who's speaking?
My name is Frank Wood. I'm a private investigator.
Private investigator.
That's right. I was wondering if I could speak to you about your father.
My father? Why? Is he okay?
Oh, that's what I'd like to know. This is a little awkward. Could we meet somewhere?
How about Ray's Diner over on 121st Street? Have you ever heard of it?
I can be there in a half an hour. Lack of sleep must be getting to me. Should have asked Jenny for a description. Or maybe I don't need one. That's clearly the woman on the cut-up picture I found. Excuse me, Jenny?
Yes, and you must be Mr. Wood?
Call me Frank.
Take a seat, please.
Thanks.
Your call came completely out of the blue, but I have to admit it's got me worried. What's this all about, Frank? Is my father in some kind of trouble?
Well, I have a nasty feeling I'm probably betraying a client's confidence, but it's a little late to start worrying about that now. To make a long story short, Jenny, your father hired me to investigate a mysterious break-in inside his home.
Okay.
However, there's no sign of forced entry or any evidence of an intruder. The servant, Philip. Do you know Philip?
I know him.
Well, he's trying to convince me it's all in your father's mind, and the harder he tries to convince me, the more I think it's not. Call me stubborn.
What's all this have to do with me?
Well, I was hoping you could help me out, Jenny.
How?
Maybe give me some information about your father and his associates.
I'll do what I can, but I'm afraid you could be asking the wrong person. I don't know too much.
I found out that Jack was married to a woman named Mary. I take it she's your mother?
Was. She passed away 2 years ago.
I see. Sorry.
It's all right. I've accepted it. That's what you have to do, isn't it? Accept it?
I guess so. Look, I know this is a touchy subject, but did your father remarry?
No.
Did he date other women that you know of?
Why are you asking me this? I don't make it my business to know about my father's love affairs.
Your father claims that a middle-aged blonde woman has been breaking into his home. I'm just trying to figure out who that woman could be.
Oh, did he say anything else about her appearance?
Only that she has a scar under her right eye.
My God.
You know her?
It sounds like a description of Mary.
Your mother? His wife?
She had the scar since childhood. She told me she ran straight into a wooden chair when she was 6.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. How could he not recognize her face?
You have to understand, Frank, that Jack loved my mother with all of his heart. He devoted his life to her.
All the more reason.
Have you ever lost someone to cancer?
Hasn't everyone? Cancer's a thief, takes people before their time. I read a magazine article that said there'd probably be a cure by 1960. Too late for your mother. I'm sorry.
When my father learned that Mary had lung cancer, he tried to do everything in his power to help her. He couldn't let her go, and he had the money to do something about it. He managed to prolong her life by a few months, but eventually the cancer won out.
That's lousy. Cigarette?
Thanks. With Mary gone, my father was a wreck. I tried to be there for him, but he acted like I didn't exist. You can understand how much that hurt me because I needed him more than ever. He wasn't the only one having a hard time coping with my mother's death.
Of course not.
Eventually, my father couldn't take the pain any longer, so he destroyed every picture of my mother and anything else that reminded him of her. He never wanted to see her face again.
Well, that explains it.
Explains what?
When I looked over Jack's house, I couldn't find any evidence that he'd even had a family, including a daughter, I mean. Sorry, I seem to be saying that a lot.
You don't have to, Frank. I'm not surprised, not really. When I came over to check on him one evening, his servant refused to let me inside the house.
That sure sounds like Philip. He's a real charmer, isn't he?
He said my father never wanted to see me again because I was part of his old life.
The life he wanted to forget.
Even though I was never allowed to see Jack ever again, I tried to check up on him in my own way.
Jenny Leonard, amateur detective.
Something like that. I followed his servant to several places, including the pharmacy.
I saw some pill bottles.
My father's been prescribed several medications for his unstable condition. Apparently, he'd been suffering from depression and also has severe memory problems.
Memory?
What's the matter?
I'm not sure. When I saw Jack, he seemed to have big problems remembering my name. Part of him wants to forget your mother, another part of him can't help but forget. Maybe that's enough to wipe her out completely. Or almost completely.
You mean until he starts hallucinating?
Imagining he sees a woman and thinks he doesn't recognize.
A ghost.
I don't believe in ghosts. Call it the memory of a memory.
Are you a private detective or a psychiatrist?
I'm just looking out for my client, Jenny.
It sounds more like you're investigating him.
Well, I can't help him unless I understand him.
And now you understand him?
A little better, I think.
So you can help him?
I hope so. Do you happen to have a picture of Mary?
I keep one in my purse.
Could I borrow it?
I suppose. What do you want it for?
I need to show it to your father.
What?
He needs to remember, Jenny. He needs to remember his wife, your mother.
I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Look, he hired me to find this woman, and he needs to know who she is. I'm going to try and make things better.
If he's sick, maybe he needs professional help.
I am a professional.
No, what I mean is...
You deserve to see your father again, Jenny. Now give me that picture, please.
All right. Here.
Thanks. Middle-aged blonde with a scar. I'd say this was a familiar face. Only I never saw her before. And I'll let you know how everything goes.
Mr. Wood, I simply cannot permit this.
I don't see that you can permit or refuse anything, Philip.
Why must you be so pig-headed?
Beats the hell out of me. I've had complaints about it, but it keeps getting worse.
You don't understand what is going on here.
Don't you worry about it. Why don't you go polish the silverware or something?
Mr. Wood.
Remember me, Jack?
Of course. It's Mr.
Wood? Frank Wood? You hired me?
Well, Mr. Wood, do you have any news about the intruder?
As a matter of fact, I do. In fact, I know exactly what's been going on.
Well, that's good news.
It could be. You know the expression, the truth shall set you free? I think I can set you free, Jack.
I'm sorry. I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
I've got something here that should make everything clear. I want you to take a look at this picture.
What is it?
Look.
Oh,
my God.
Get away from me!
Come back to me, Jack.
You wouldn't listen to me, would you? You wouldn't trust me.
No, I wouldn't. I couldn't believe...
I was here from the beginning. I understood him, understood his pain. And once she started appearing...
She?
Where do memories go when we force them out, Mr. Wood? Are they gone forever? Or do they take shape, refuse to be banished without a fight?
I should have... this can't be true.
No, it can't be true, can it? What you saw in there, what you caused, that was all a delusion caused by lack of sleep. Go home, Mr. Wood. Go home and get some rest.
Maybe that's for the best, Philip. I should try to forget.
Don't try too hard, Mr. Wood.
Memories are all we truly have. Without them, we are but a shell of our former selves.
You have been listening to Vincent Price Presents, and tonight's tale, Fade Away, starring Jerry Robbins as Frank Wood, Hugh Metzler as Jack Leonard, and J.T. Turner as Philip. Featured were Diane Capon as Jenny Leonard, Cynthia Pape as the clerk, and Carrie Kilkelly as the ghost. Tonight's play was dramatized for radio by M.J. Elliott, based on the Blue Water comic written by Nick Lyons and was produced by Brian Rothrock. Executive producer was Mark Vanderberg, and the program was directed by Jerry Robbins, with music by Jeffrey Gage. Until next time, this is Bill Hammond bidding you a heartfelt farewell. Vincent Price Presents is under a copyright by the Vincent Price Estate and Darren G. Davis. Audio production copyright by Colonial Radio Theater on the Air.
CD extras. Audio quality may vary due to impromptu recording. Hello, this is Jerry Robbins, and welcome to CD Extras for our production of Vincent Price Presents, Volume 1. Recently, Victoria Price was interviewed for our series by Boston radio personality Jordan Rich to discuss her father's films, his life, and legacy. Let's listen in.
This is Jordan Rich, and what an honor it is to have with us on this program the daughter of the late Vincent Price, and she is here to tell us more about her dad. Victoria Price is her name, and she's done so much to keep his memory alive, writing a terrific biography, and she joins us to talk a bit about him. Welcome, Victoria.
Hi, thanks for having me on your show.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. This CD series is very, very exciting, and your dad, as we come to know him, is so much more than the movies. He really is, in many respects, a Renaissance man, isn't he?
He absolutely was. I know it's a term that sometimes can be overused, but he was definitely someone who not only knew about a great many things, he was passionate about a great many things, and he actually did a great many things. He was always very busy.
Yeah. Born in the Midwest, in St. Louis, and had a very fine upbringing in terms of his education and so forth. You know, when watching Vincent Price and listening to him over the years, one would think that this was an educated man. He certainly was.
He was. He went to excellent schools. He went to an alternative school through 6th grade, and then he went to St. Louis Country Day, which has turned out its fair share of senators, governors, entertainment, and sports figures. And then from there he went on to Yale and studied English and art history, and then on to a very prestigious art history program called the Courtauld Institute at the University of London, and he also studied at the University of Vienna. And really, I think, thought he was going to be an art historian.
Talking here with Victoria Price about her father, Vincent Price. And having watched him so many times on screen, and certainly seen him on television and locally here at Channel 2 in the Boston area, but around the country on PBS, he was a guy who could talk very comfortably about, as you say, art or cuisine, wines. I mean, he's the kind of guy that could sort of hold a conversation with just about anybody, it seems.
Oh, absolutely. He was always very interested in everything. I remember him telling me a story one time. It was the first time he'd ever flown on a jet, and he was actually sort of a little panicked about it because he was used to seeing propellers going around, and he wasn't really quite sure what would keep it up in the air if you couldn't see propellers. And he happened to mention that to the person next to him, who gave him an entire breakdown on jet propulsion and how to fly. And he said it was one of the most fascinating conversations he ever had. And at the end of the conversation, the gentleman introduced himself. He said his name was Eddie Rickenbacker, who was a very famous flyer. So, you know, even when talking about something about which he ostensibly might not have been interested at all, my dad found a way to be compelled and interested. He always said that if you are curious about everything, you will never be bored.
When we look at his movie career, we find him in the late 1930s and early 1940s, and he dabbled a bit in the horror genre with The Tower of London, where he appeared with Boris Karloff, and then, of course, The Invisible Man Returns, and that kind of thing. But then he becomes really known for his work in film noir, with naturally Laura being
preeminent among them. But looking back at his career, and you've done all the research and you know him because he's your dad, I mean, he didn't start out to be, quote, a horror icon, did he?
No, he actually was being groomed to be a matinee idol. And his first plays that he did, the reviewers would, I mean, it's almost embarrassing to read it. They would gush about how physically gorgeous he was. He actually had blonde hair and was 6'4" and, was very handsome. And they brought him out to Hollywood, and his first movie, he was a leading man in a screwball comedy, and they really thought he was going to be that kind of leading man type, but he actually was uncomfortable with that right from the start. And I think that discomfort showed through on screen. He knew it wasn't right for him, and he really wanted to be a character actor in the style of, let's say, someone like Eddie G. Robinson, and who was a friend of his. And they didn't really know how to turn this handsome 6'4" guy into a character actor, and so they kind of put him in a number of roles all over the map. He played Joseph Smith, who was the founder of the Mormon religion. He, as you said, he was in The Invisible Man and all these other things, but really kind of didn't find his niche. And I think the thing that really let him know what it was, he was cast in 1941, late in 1941, in a play on Broadway called Angel Street, and that would later become a movie called Gaslight with Charles Boyer and Ingrid Bergman. And he was cast as a villain, really for the first time. And it was a huge success. It's still the longest-running melodrama on Broadway. And he, I think, felt that palpable excitement of having a role he could sink his teeth into, and he really loved being a villain. And so then he did the film noirs, but he also did films like Dragonwyck, where he is definitely evil. If somebody hasn't seen it, I don't want to give it away. And so, yes, he was all over the map, but I think from the 40s on, he really knew that he had a penchant for villainy, shall we say.
It's interesting as we talk about the great Vincent Price, and we're talking about his work in film. When we look at radio, and radio is such an interesting medium because you can be anybody if you're a good radio actor. I'm noting here that he played Simon Templar on the radio for many, many years. Now, Simon Templar's the saint. You couldn't get any better in terms of morality and saintliness than Simon Templar. So isn't it interesting how he was playing the evil characters and the bad guys, which he had a lot of fun with. He was also playing a great hero.
Well, and, nobody really had a better radio voice than him, did they? I mean, he had such an amazing voice.
So doing radio enabled him to do the sort of put on the white hat, and I'm sure he had great fun with that because, like our friend who played Matt Dillon, William Conrad, you don't have to look like the person you sound like.
Exactly. Exactly. He always used to laugh about the different people who would dub his voice in foreign countries because he had such a distinctive voice, so they had to match that distinctiveness if he was being dubbed in Italian or French or whatever. And I remember him telling me that he met some of them, and they had great voices and were very distinctive, but some of them were like, 5'3" and roly-poly, nothing like him.
Now, you take a look at his career, Victoria, that really starts to take off in the genre area in the 1950s. And I'll tell you, seeing The House of Wax, there's nothing like seeing it in a classic theater like the ones we have here around Boston, and seeing it for the first time on a big screen, even in 1953. I mean, it's so many years ago. The first time you see the lunging of the knife or even the paddle wheel, whatever, the paddle ball, you say, wow, that's really cool. And of course, he just rules in that. Was that considered his breakout role for the horror genre, do you think?
It was, and it was a really interesting thing because he was actually gray-listed during the McCarthy era and didn't work for a year, which for someone who was a workaholic was really, really stressful. Would have been stressful for anyone, but for him, it really pushed him over the edge. And when he came out of that period, he was offered 2 jobs at the same time. One was a Broadway play called We're No Angels, and the other was this odd 3D movie called House of Wax, and he picked the movie. And absolutely, that was a role that changed his life. But, when you were talking about the knife popping out of the screen, my dad always used to say that he felt that the movie was a success because the director didn't overuse the 3D technology. And the reason he didn't was that he had one eye. He had wore an eye patch, Andre de Toth. And so if you only have one eye, you can't see in 3D. Requires 2 eyes to see in 3D. And so he didn't get what all the fuss was about. And so consequently, he made a movie that actually had a good plot. and then they threw in the occasional weird little 3D thing.
Well, it works even to this day, and now everyone's doing 3D, but you look back at that as the pioneering film, and your dad representing that a presence on screen that becomes so familiar to us with movies like the original House on Haunted Hill, 1959, which still holds up today, and obviously even in The Fly, the year of my birth, The Fly, in which he's sort of well, he's not a bad guy really. I mean, he's there to sort of bring the story through, but who better than Vincent Price to help out?
Yes, I mean, one of the things that's interesting is people think he's always the bad guy in the film, and he's not. Sometimes he's in these horror or sci-fi films, and he's not the bad guy, as you said.
When we look at the 1960s, and we're going sort of chronologically for the benefit of our listeners who are big fans of Vincent Price, I'm sure, we see the connection he had with Roger Corman and American International Pictures, and for those people who study Edgar Allan Poe, it's almost impossible, if you're old enough, to get the image of your dad and Edgar Allan Poe separate. They were linked by these cinema projects, weren't they?
Absolutely. In fact, I remember I was born in the early 60s, and I remember in the 70s being in junior high and reading Edgar Allan Poe stories for the first time. And my dad had written the introduction to the little paperback we were given. And I still know kids, in fact, some college kids recently told me that they were introduced to my dad's work because their teacher, their high school English teacher, showed them the Edgar Allan Poe movies that my dad had made when teaching Edgar Allan Poe. So even now, I think he's still linked.
Jordan's interview with Victoria Price will conclude on Disc 2 of Vincent Price Presents.